To our chess stream here on lichess.org and Twitch. International Master William Paschall with the pawn that will entertain you with live chess. Chess playing and chat as well as other fun stuff, so stay tuned with us, guys. What's up? Welcome. It's Friday, my favorite day. I don't know why, since I don't have a real job, but I'm just kidding, guys. What's up? It's Friday. It's my favorite day. The end of the work week. After a long slog at the office. I am ready to play some 5+3 Blitz here. Welcome, guys. We're going to take some warm-ups from the Peanut Gallery. Create a game because there's no good way to get to the lobby. Click on the lobby and then find a victim. Farshad. Used to think of Shrek. Shrek. 3+3. We're playing 5+3, but just as a warm-up game. King Farzad. Is that right? Let's play the Czech Benoni for Asabe. Very rarely will I do this. Not really a good opening. I mean, black didn't have to play c5 either. The Foigle, reversed Foigle. Czech Benoni, King's Indian hybrid. Maybe Bishop g2 is even a bad move. Foigle probably would have played knight h5, because I would be black. But anyway, get in there. Give me that. Thank you. White square bishop, that's not important. Time is money, friend. I mean, I have almost compensation even if he won the pawn on f5. It's kind of a pity to play g4 and weaken my dark squares. I want everything. I could play queen f3. It's actually leaving a hole on c2. Probably not that noticeable. Enable me to do a little bit of everything, but let's just play g4. I wasted all my time on an obvious move. Threads g5, forcing... You know, maybe this is stronger than I thought, although h6, oof. How can you do that, my friend? Wow, that is extreme. That's some crazy stuff right there. I can't even believe this. Sacked a piece for 2 pawns. This guy likes the initiative. 92, queen d3, knight e4, queen d1 check, knight takes f6 check, king g7. It's kind of unfortunate. Yeah, it's just a warm-up game against Farshad, but I blundered. Probably he should go for that there. Knight b4. But Farshad makes the mistake. I wanted to have a list of things you don't do when it's like increment blitz. You don't play for the time with increment. See, Farshad's mistake is that he thinks he can flag people with increment. You never ever play for flag when it's increment. It's like the single most important rule of this. Time control with increments. You cannot play exclusively for time. You can combine threats positionally with time, but you can't play for just time. He's playing, it seems like, just for time. Just for men. Now he's trading queens. Another good idea when you're down a piece. Okay, I'm sorry to be such a hater, but I mean, I try to tell it like it is. I can't accept this. Here's my white square bishop. Queening a queenside pawn. Queening a queenside pawn. Say it 10 times. Come on, dude, blunder. Wow, he's helping me create a pass pawn. Okay. That makes it easier. Now, if this guy would actually take his time, he thinks the thing is you have to end up with what you started with. So in his mind, like the 3 minutes, it has to remain. His goal is to have more time than he started with. That's the important thing. Weird. Weird. Now what do I do? B5. This is ridiculous. Poor guy. You don't understand. The object is not to have more time than you started with. What should I play? Kind of tricky now. He's a hyper bullet player. But he's not. He doesn't even have a bullet rating. It's like, what? Can you believe that? He doesn't even have a bullet rating. How does he not have a bullet rating? All he's playing is bullet. In a 3-3 game, he has all the time he started with. This poor guy, like, imagine if he had a clue how to use his time. He might be like 2100 or something. It's so weird. Where's the mate? Mate in 2? It's that easy? Easy game. It was hard to see it. That's sad. He actually almost kind of got me to mess up there. But I mean, what are you doing, dude? Alright, we've got a challenge from Hiroku. He seems like an angry person. I look angry. I'm always angry. I'm always angry, you know that. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our chess stream. The goal is to have more time than you started with. That's the most important thing when you're playing Increment Blitz. Because we're awarded bonus points for every second on the clock that we have left over. I'm going to start doing time management classes. Along with my anger management. Celebrate with a bullet game. My favorite. Hiroku's not the player who used to play d4, knight f6, c4, e6, a3? I think he is. 2300 is a good achievement in Blitz. Achievement get for Martin Kessler. Take with the knight. The Tarash. Where's Alms? We've got an Alms reversed. White is an extra tempo. Play the Swedish variation with c5. Guys, we're playing 5+3. I call it Fast Blitz. I mean, it's faster than 7+3. For lack of a better name, I'm calling it Fast Blitz. No gimmicks, just chess. As Joe Biden says. No malarkey. No snake oil. No pretty girls. Just good chess. That's what we've got here. One panda and some good chess. No beer. Unfortunately, that's just for the evening streams. I will play 3+0, but I have to be warmed up. And it's a totally different time control than 5+3 or 7+3. But, see, that's the thing that people don't get. They just don't get that increment is different from regular. You cannot play for the flag when there's an increment, unless it's like a 1 second increment, or you've got a slow opponent in 2 second increment. But this is like the most important rule. I mean, you just cannot play for time. It's about like position first, and then maybe the time can help you push them over the edge, but you can't play like in sudden death. It's a totally different game. It's absolutely, you should be playing for time. I mean, if it's 3-0 or even 5-0, not as much, but I think the majority of my opponents are acting like they're playing sudden death. It's not. I remember The first time I played in an over-the-board tournament with 5 second delay, because in the old days we didn't have no, in dinosaur era I'm talking, we didn't have increment. This is like pre 2005, let's say. Like it wasn't no increment. FIDE had just started that stuff. And I mean, I remember this game I had with Teddy Coleman where I was just winning, but there was the 5 second delay. And I just never played increment blitz. I wasn't used to it. And I was actually like better, but it was probably a draw. And I actually tried to play like it was sudden death and try to flag him. And he just kept hanging on with like 1 second, 1 second. And I lost, surprise. All right, what are we doing here? B5. Three plus two is annoying if you're not used to playing fast. Because the 2 second increment I can lose on time too. I'm pretty slow with the mouse. I'm out of practice, and blitz wise, in 3 plus 2 you can kind of flag pretty easily. 3 plus 1, obviously, it's very easy to do. Anyway, we've got a very good position here. Just massaging. Maybe my bishop should actually change diagonals. It's just so pretty, the idea of... It's a nice fantasy, the idea of the bishop on this long diagonal here. I think ultimately we've made an error in assuming that it's going to play a role from b7. It should shift diagonals. Shifty, the bishop. H4 could happen at some point. Both sides have a little trouble getting the rooks into active play. I mean, I could play rook c8, but he's there on the c file anyway. I feel like I missed something. I want to play bishop c8, but there was a reason why I'm not playing it. What was the reason? I don't know, some stupid reason. Very stupid reason. I was afraid of knight a4. Knight a4. And rook c6. That was my big fear. Knight a4 and rook c6. What I failed to realize is there is a tactical defense. The Asterbait maneuver. He's not here. He has two maneuvers named after it. Bishop c8 and rook a7. We can make both of them possible here with the same move. And now this is a good idea. Knight d1. Wherever might he be going? I have no idea. This is probably like +2 for black. You think he's going to d3? Possible. I have bishop takes g3. I wouldn't really mind trading one set of rooks here, but I don't really want to trade both. H4 at some point, obviously very strong. Bob! Whoa. Someone hacked Bob's account. That's not right. We're going to report you, hacker. We know you're not real. Alright. I was just having hallucinations. Oh, you guys, I'm still asleep. Yeah, what kind of person would do a thing like that? Bob is here. Oh my god. What was my plan with this? Well, it's hard. He's hanging on. What can I do? I can't believe it's the real Bob. I think it's a hacker. We've got... I just wanted to trade one set of rooks. Kind of, I don't know, loosen his defenses somehow. Probing. B5. This may be a bad move. Can't be the real Bob. He likes my overlay. I just revealed to people like last week that the only reason I kept it was to annoy you. I thought I could reveal it since you were rumored to be dead. The truth came out. Oh no. Mate. Is mate good? Mate. That's not mate. That's a fake news. Oh my god, I almost dropped mate. Wow, that would be stupid. He's really hanging on here. $16.66. There's nothing clear. Bishop d4 is a move. It doesn't really do anything. I can shift position, dominating his knight. I'm better, but there's no way to win, no direct way to win, it looks like. Why didn't I play my intended move? Maybe I gave him a golden chance to survive. I wanted to play bishop e5 and I forgot about it. It just forces queen g2. Knight there was a surprise. I think he's kind of overloaded now. I thought his knight was going to f2 to go to d3. h3 check. In some positions, bishop b5 doesn't work. Bishop b5. Oof. Does that work? Man, Heroku's pretty good for 1666. Collapsing soon. He just saw it. Doesn't seem like he's collapsing. Oh. He saw that too. Can't believe how well he's defending this. Staying ahead on time. We're running out of time. Not to panic in bullet. Now finally a blunder. That's the real Bob. That's crazy. All right. Blizzard, Martin Kessler. Got increments. Sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about. Blizzard is a subscriber. Imre is a subscriber. It says Rauris knows. Rauris? You mean Rousis? Like the Grandmaster who used the computer to raise his rating to 2700? Is that, or is it just he misspelled it? I'm just kidding. I don't know. Rauris. It's hard to say that. Looks like Rousis. You're allowed to gift a gift sub in memoriam, of course. We've been in contact with the Bob family, and they're planning on donating his estate Why can't you donate a sub? Absolutely. I'll have to report this hacker. He might access their finances too. Oh, the reverse. If I play d5 and c5, you can play the reverse. Budapest. I'm going to start playing that. But the Queen's Indian attack. Yesterday you played e3 in the game we saw. Whatever. Twitch Prime already? He didn't sub. Jim gifted a tier 1 sub to Bob. Oh, by the way, guys, if you do, they have like new emotes this week, or I don't know. There's a promotion for emotes if you subscribe. Declined. Queen's Gambit declined. Well, at least you should be able to decline. It's like a draw offer. Send him a bottle of snake oil for me. All right. A dweeb. Chess dweeb. Don't be a chess dweeb. That's a word that's from the 80s. Nothing against Danish Borosh, but he shouldn't call himself that. That was a bad choice for stream name. Because he doesn't know American nerd words from the 80s, probably. I know, but, it's just too close. I mean, you can't get that close. You can't. That's worse than my stream overlay. You know that. Alright, this is interesting. So, rook e8, guarding e7. Critical. Of course he's a good player. All Hungarian grandmasters are good players. You think that people buy their titles here? Did I come here so I could play some fish? He learned from me. At least a little bit. Beat him down the first time. I think the meaning of dweeb has been forgotten. Anyway, we're already on interesting topics. So this is a good plan by White. I like the way he played this. What am I doing? I feel like it's symmetrical English now. I guess it is, basically. Good to have the old Bob back. It's kind of scary we don't have a moderator. Mr. Coffee's not here, of course. Bob carefully timed that. Is a moderator coming? If he's the real Bob. It seems like it. The way that this conversation is going, I like the way White's playing this. Not clear what I should do. Just kind of, he's keeping the tension, keeping the pressure on. I could take on d4 and try to play d5, even if it was a pawn sacrifice. Change the structure. It's an interesting idea. CD, ED, d5. It's not without risk, though. I feel like it's risky. Alternatively, I guess I could play e5. Then he's hitting me with knight b5, which I don't like. He's got knight b5 anyway. Maybe we're going to have to bail on this plan. D5, knight B5, and there's this just devastating fork on C7. I think I'm going to pass on the original plan. Bishop takes F3, knight H5 is interesting. If not slightly artificial. If it works, it works. Focus on your game. No, don't do that. That would be a dong bot. It's kind of like a dingbat. Childish. Oh boy. All right. Well, we can't be having any of that. D5 square. Although I can kick him out. This is where I learn a lot from the engine. It's very patient, slightly worse positions like this. You know, you don't have to panic and play E6 yet, though I really like the way White is playing. He's over 2,300 in two different rating. No, just one. Still good achievement. Get. Things are looking up. Very, very dynamic position I've got here. It's fine, actually. If not a little dry. But the jokes aren't dry. How about rook? Do we have rook? I mean, I'm tempted not to play this, but I think eventually we're going to have to do it. White is slightly better. Although if he plays d5, I could play e5. You know, I was just assuming I would chop his knight on c3. But really, there's no reason I have to necessarily do that. It does seem strange to play e5 and block my own bishop in on g7, but the thing is, thank you, Jim, for the donation. It's a special day. Bob is back. Or Bob's doppelganger. But, what was I saying? My bishop, if I play like e5, f5, it could always get open again with e4. So there's not like it's necessarily permanent if I play e5. I want to play d5. But just doesn't seem to work. Playing for b5 would be a good plan. I guess I should play rook c8 rather than d8 in retrospect. More active there. I should try to play a6 and b5 in the structure. White's done like very little, very well. I mean, I think he's played patiently, kept attention, still has a very small edge structurally. A lot of people would look at the position and say that black was better because white has doubled pawns and black has a bishop and white has a knight. But see, it's not that simple. There's more to chess than the obvious superficial evaluations. My bishop's not that great. His position's compact. His double pawns aren't really a weakness. I think evaluating this position is not that easy, but I would kind of lean toward white having a slight pull. A4. So d5 or a6. A6 I wanted to play anyway. And then if I can play d5, he's going to win a pawn. Take, rook takes, queen takes, knight takes d5. That wins a pawn clean. If I take with the rook, same thing. So I can't play d5. This is a wild move. but I don't understand how it works. Okay. That's crazy. Alright, no, I mean, I don't know, but that's a little bit much. I feel like he went a bit too far with a5. But he might be able to make it work. But he doesn't want the knight on a4. Then he gets in the way. It's a little bit like Ubatis' game the other day. Oh, you're going to just protect the pawn with knight d2? We should get some counterplay here. Would be good. The time is a problem. I feel like black is active enough. But I can't play e5 because of queen d5 check. This is his big hope, you know, that I would just like walk into queen d5 check. That's why you can't play hope chess. When you play strong enough players, hope chess isn't enough. g4 is a good move. Well, spicy move. It was the one thing I was kind of concerned about there. Now I can't play e5? Seriously? Holding my breath. He was nearly winning, I would say. I think he was nearly winning. Once I played pawn takes pawn, I give up the e4 square. Or to this position, I give up the e4 square. Maybe he's not winning. I'm exaggerating, but it's dangerous. Equal according to the engine. Slightly better for white even at this point. +1 now, see? Rook f3 +1. What are you guys talking about now? Pawn sack with a5. Right, here, this position. It's a creative idea, but it was a bit much. I almost played b5, but then I realized cb5, ab5, and you'll have a protected pass pawn with b4. Yeah, it was too much. You played so patiently until then. I mean, you can play d5, and here I would seriously, very possibly chop the knight on c3 and grovel for a draw in the slightly worse heavy piece endgame. I think that's what I would do against a grandmaster. It's also possible to play like e5, but I was concerned that I'm worse here. Maybe not. This doesn't look that clear, actually. Anyway, guys, good game for Martin Kessler. It was close. Imre. I forgot I'm not supposed to take subscribers first. I'm just taking challenges. Alright, whatever. It's Friday. Open challenge rule. I'm sorry for taking subscribers out of order. Sometimes I'm a little bit crazy. Happy Friday. Yeah, in honor of Friday, we just take the challengers as we get them. But you do have to have 100 games or so. I don't want to play like provisionally rated accounts. I had one of those yesterday. What am I going to play in the Roy Lopez? Happy Friday, WJ Loof. James would be very happy. I haven't seen him much. He basically stopped coming since he wasn't here to fight with you, Bob. Castles. And what do I want to play? Oh, I was going to play something unusual. Do they have Thank God It's Friday? Not really. Not per se. Thank God It's Friday. We do have Fridays in Budapest, though. There's 2 TGIF Fridays. One of them is horrible, but the other one's pretty good. Don't go to the one in the shopping center in Budapest. Very bad service. C3. I just transposed to... Okay, this is a Rubinstein system. Oh, whatever. We'll play in normal Spanish. Bod. Just in body, not in mind. Just his bod. Just his bod is dead. They're keeping his mind alive in a jar. It's like a Lovecraft novel. Whisperer in Darkness or whatever. D4 knight on BD7. Short story, not a novel. What's up, Acerbate? Aliens are keeping Bob's mind alive in a jar. So it's not as simple as he just died. It's not quite like that. That's what I heard. I never played the Breyer variation in my life. I decided to give it a whirl. I would never pretend someone was dead. I can't imagine where I got that idea from. What would ever possess me to do something so twisted and sick? Ludwig AC, welcome. Looks like everybody's free on Friday. We don't have a real TGI Friday kind of thing here in Budapest. I mean, people like to finish work for the week, though, no doubt. Oh, Juicebox. Juicebox is here once in a while. Not too often because of the time difference. Okay, so here we are playing the Breyer variation, which I don't really know. But I guess we just do the normal routine. I don't want to get pumped full of lead like my man Kamsky did in one U.S. championship against Wesley So. I remember. That wasn't good. But it was a different setup. Like, White played Bishop G5. And actually, I don't know. I kind of like this. I don't want my knight on A5. You can understand why people don't want to play the Chigorin variation. Have the knight on A5. Cambodian coon cats. Got to be careful of the Wuhan flu. I hope he's alright. Closer to ground zero. Alright, so that's alright. B5 we can deal with. Keep it protected with C6. How about my f7? How's my driving? f7's alright? Check. b5's alright? Check. e5's alright? Check. I'm a prophylactic player, Bob. So this is the typical moment when you're saying it's time to undermine, seek and destroy enemy center before it's too late. You know, if you could play like b3 and c4, I'm screwed. But d5, the problem with d5 is always this. Chip away at the center. My first ever Breyer Roy Lopez with black. Maybe. Who knows if I played it in a Blitz game 20 years ago. I have no idea. But when I've experimented here on the stream, I've played like knight a5, bishop b7, queen d7, other moves. I was leafing through an old book on the Spanish. Just this morning, in fact. What's up, guys? It's time to subscribe. Don't forget. What are we doing? Bishop b3? What? Isn't white just losing a pawn here? Jimmy played a really weird move in our correspondence game. You think it's a blunder? I was surprised. I was like, yeah, that's good. All right. I'm saving it, though. I didn't want to move too quickly. Yeah, I think you made a mistake. Looked like you had me in a little bit of danger. So what, knight takes d5, bishop g5? But it looks like we're just simply up a pawn for nothing. Not just any pawn, but our central pawn. Acerbate, subscribe to tier 3. Dude, you get an emote thanks to Acerbate subscription. Bonus reason to subscribe now, guys. This week, I guess. Free emotes. WJ Luke, did you just donate another 100, or was that from before? Looks like that's new. Thank you. 25 months. Acerbate, why are you not a founder? Can you guys tell me why Acerbate's not a founder? Actually, Bob used to be a founder. Yeah, he is still. 28 months. Somehow Acerbate's not a founder. He came later, really? It's all so vague now. I can't even remember what year it is anymore. Knight e4, wow. Have to be careful not to lose material here. Does this work? It looks like it works. There's a weird dance going on in the center. But I think everything's protected. Knight f6, knight f6, knight g5, rook f8. I was checking about f7 before, remember? I can always play d5. But not always. Acerbate is late today. You didn't take your sleeping pill at the wrong time or something? We were getting a little low on subscribers, so it's a good thing you guys showed up. Alanis Morissette. Last year I was in a, what's it called? Where they sell like old stuff. Like a thrift shop is the word I'm looking for. And they had some Alanis Morissette CDs. I bought one for like 50 cents. But CDs are worth nothing. You can just like throw them away now. Still, I couldn't resist buying it for 50 cents. That was maybe the album. That's interesting. I was never a big fan, but I don't mind her. I'm more a Liz Phair kind of guy. So, rook takes e4. I like this. Bishop just brings his pieces into focus. That's a nice bishop. Nice bishop. Gotta admit. What if I play knight e4 now, ironically? Like, what is he gonna do? That's so weird. Like, his rook is on e4. I play knight f6, his rook goes away, then I just put it on e4 again. He's, like, lost. It's kind of messed up. Somehow that's, like, counterintuitive. Is he not lost? Because... Oh, no. I win a piece? No. I don't win a piece. But I'm just clearly better. He's got rook a3. Premature resignation there. I wonder if I should play a different move, like bishop takes f3. Damn, that just wins. This is a blunder. Bishop takes f3 now. My last move was a mistake. Computer doesn't agree. Alright. Oh, I thought you were okay here. I can invert the move order, I see. So take here. What's the big deal? This is the problem. He has rook e2 though. He's not actually losing a piece, is he? He's not actually losing a piece. I still think he resigned a little bit early there. Play it out till you're surely down enough to lose. 2 miles from the strip. Rauris knows. Okay, Rauris, no relation to Rousis. Better not be trolling me. Rauris better not play like 2400. I'm out of here. Rousis, the Grandmaster who was known to go to the bathroom a lot. Kramnik system. He may not be here at all, though. He's going to the bathroom to check his mobile phone. Alexander CL. Who's Alexander CL? I'm not sure Rauris. Rauris has gone to the bathroom to find out what his first move is. Alexander CL. It's a long time no see. Do you know him? I've never played him. I played him once. But he's got like no games. Who's Alexander CL? Is it a Greek guy? He was coming to the stream, but I've only played him once. Well, he must have had another account then. He had more than one account, and you just remember this like secondary account? There was a guy from Romania, but he had a different name. Like way back. Alright, this is not happening. He got stuck in the bathroom. I'm going to abort this game. Yeah, some other name. Actually, one of the first viewers, before I even had subscribers. I can't remember his handle now. It was from Romania. Mohammed Master has plenty of games. Okay, let's go. Nice to be Friday. I don't have too much work today, so I've been working hard and hardly working. Yep, guys. Real chess here. No beautiful girls, no snake oil, no malarkey. Rauris is trying to find out what his first move is still. As am I. Let's play in English. Guys, Simul on Sunday. As I say the English, he plays g6. It's irrelevant. Irrelevant. No grandmasters who are FMs. But that's not... It's completely okay to pretend you're a grandmaster. Try to get more Twitch subscribers. No, I like him, but I don't like that he called himself that. That's a gimmick to trick people who are ignorant. But it's alright. Other than that, I like him. That's fine. I like him a lot more than other people. I just think his name is a gimmick. Yeah, I mean, of course he's clarifying it, but the damage is done with the total beginners. They all think he's a grandmaster. There's no getting around it, you know. Till the end of time, anyone who's like really new to chess, doesn't play in tournaments, they're gonna think he's a grandmaster. Whatever, I'm not even gonna mention it again. Yeah, it's smart marketing, absolutely. Anything goes in today's society. Who am I to criticize? I had 5 IM norms at some point too. Alright. Right. Like, there are no rules anymore. Part of the Mexican wall blew over yesterday. Actually, I have a friend who's from Mexicali. That's like right where he grew up. And it's just so funny. I'm not funny, it's like sad, but ironic. But I'm not going to get started. I just can't imagine, like, the winds came from their side. You know, they'll find a way to, like, blame the Mexicans for the fact that the wall fence blew over. Just such a meme of itself. Quality contractors were involved in the creation of the wall fence. GM Canty, and what he said was that before you could become a GM, you had to play like one first. That's the case in most cases. Probably not all. Well, alright, whatever. I'm a little concerned about this endgame might not be enough to win. It blew into Mexico, so the wind was coming from the US. Well, I'm not a physicist. I would assume the same as WJ Loof, but I suppose there's some way it could, you know, if it was like leaning one way or the other already, then maybe a wind from either side would make it fall down. Probably not. I don't know. But yeah, it's just ironic. I don't really want to trade queens. I don't feel like my advantage is enough here. We could put our king in many places. Probably should have considered this a little more carefully before I played my last move. Lucky that I'm not like losing material. This diagonal. This king is not really safe for the moment. Yeah, they don't care about the fence, but I mean, I'm sure they don't really like it, like laying in their streets or whatever, you know. Oh, I'm taking. Sometimes it can become like a ghost piece, the bishop on g7. But I think the issue here, the main issue here is really probably the black king safety. Wonder if I should even bother with g4. I'm a little concerned that I don't have enough to really have an edge here. Despite the fact that its king is in the center, there's not that many pieces on board. Shoddy carpentry. Can you imagine that from the Trump administration? Anything shoddy? All right, I gotta stop myself. I don't want to ruin my mood talking about this. I brought it up. Man, Black is playing well. He's 1500 in rapid. What? 1500 in classical. So he doesn't do long games. He's like 2000 bullet, 1800, and his rating goes down as the time control gets longer. So it's another player who basically thrives on playing fast. I'm starting to think I have to be careful here that I'm not worse. I didn't have enough coffee myself. Gonna drop the D pawn very easily here. Very shortly, I should say. He just doesn't care. His king's chilling in the center. He's 1500 in blitz. He's gonna crush me. But maybe I shouldn't have worried about that. Like, seriously, it was sort of silly to assume I should play queen d2. I don't know where to go, though. c4. I have to keep f2 protected. e2. But I looked at bishop takes c3, rook takes c3, queen takes d5. And I didn't look as far as rook takes h6, queen takes g2. This guy's good for 1500. I mean, isn't this blitz? 5 plus 3 isn't blitz? I don't understand. Oh, his blitz rating is 1839. Okay. Well, I didn't really like it, but I guess I'm going to castle kingside. I could always play f4 in some positions. We've got to move fast before it's too late and something bad happens. Right. His moves seem very strong. f4 loses a pawn. I could play queen e2 and like grovel for a draw, or try to. I could play f3 actually. No. f3 queen g3 is too strong. Queen e2 it probably is bad as well. Queen h4. But I don't know what I'm supposed to do. f3 queen g3. f4 pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn, resigns. What do I have in store for queen e2? I guess that's what I have to do. I mean, this game clearly better for black. Hopefully he has no endgame. That bishop can be a ghost piece, as I said, but in this case, it was not. Not a ghost and not a joke. This is stronger than the knight. Sorry you have to go to work. One more. Mr. Coffee. Was Mr. Coffee stopped by? Briefly? I didn't see him, did I? What's this? I'm under a lot of pressure. On the job, bishop c5, an excellent square. See, this is a strange move by black. Immediately. So hopefully endgame, he might not play as well. Now he's trying to trap my rook, so it's all tactic. Typical tactical move. Motif trying to trap my rook. Black's still fine, probably slightly better. At least I'm not in immediate danger, losing the game like I was before. But he's not joking about Muhammad Master. Another mistake. Resurgent rook. Now he's probably close to lost, but maybe not. Sadly. Oh man, I don't have much time. Probably a draw. Perfect play by both sides. It's obviously extremely strong for 1800 in Blitz. Inconceivable how he could be 1500 in Rapid or 1500 in Classical chess. D5 is the only move. Found it. It's probably a draw now. He's offering me a draw? What? No. Just because I said it draw, like, you're listening to the stream? Because I said it's a draw, you're going to offer a draw? I can at least try. I don't think I have real losing chances. Funny position. I guess I should go with my f-pawn. Then he has a second pass pawn. What am I going to do? Should have played this before, probably. I have g5 on the move. It's probably not enough. Enough for a draw. How this guy is 1500 rapid chess is impossible. Black was clearly better after the opening. Pretty amazing game by Black. Even here, nice judgment. Black is okay. Apparently I missed the move. F4 trapping his queen. Oh man. Never occurred to me. Wow. Didn't even look for it. So he put his king on the wrong square. He could have put his king on d8 or f8 and still kept the escape square for his queen, but he didn't even look for f4. That's sad. Still, it was a very good game by Black, I thought. All right, Alexander CL. Okay, he overlooked f4. Pretty big blunder. And I wasn't even thinking about trapping his queen. That's why I didn't see it. I only put the queen on d3, not to trap his queen, but just to avoid trading queens. I think I was like nearly losing in the beginning of the end game. My position is so bad. I don't like taking with the pawn that much. But this is a pretty boring system. I don't know what got into me. Playing Jim, you've been hanging out here too much. Jim and Martin Kessler making me play b3. We've got to get more out of life than this setup with white. Should I play knight c3 there instead of knight d2? Your b3 is inspiring. Jim too. He's not so much recently, but he was playing it a lot. Jim, did you give up the b3? You're still doing it, right? You shared a game. The other day. Expand. Expansive. Feeling expansive with b5. Maybe I should play it right away. I like to play all different stuff. With white, I've been playing too much knight f3 in the last years. Just avoiding theory, basically. It's sort of addictive. Kramnik and Halifman started this knight f3 fashion in the early 2000s. Even before that, probably late 90s. And just the kind of cop-out. Let's go with b5. If he takes, we get a queenside pawn majority. Kind of like Martin Kessler's submission last night for the game analysis stream. Sarawan. Give me the c4 square for my knight, please. So Alexander has to be thoughtful about what to do now. Yeah, that's a good move. I mean, it looks like the only move. You have to do that. How about bishop f3 now? Nothing like a one-move threat. Luring his pawn forward. I wonder if you could play e4, bishop e2, knight g4, bishop g7, queen h4. No. Does e4 overextend? Do I have knight e4, bishop g7? No, there's no tricks, unless I want to sack a piece. I could sack a piece, but I think that's a bit much. Interesting. E4, knight e4, knight e4, bishop g7. King g7, bishop e4, rook e4. I'm starting to have hallucinations. Never mind. We're having hallucinations. I hope this works. I didn't analyze it really enough. But he has to take. I take with the bishop. If he takes on c4, I play bishop takes b7. And I was hoping that would be enough for a large advantage. Probably there's some way for him to sack an exchange or something. Botvinnik would be rather happy now. Actually, this is just hanging. Okay, if I take, you take with what? With the pawn? If I take on d6, then you take on c4. But what happens if I just do this? Then it's like eternity. Burning in hell for eternity after bishop d5. Total command of the position for the rest of your life. You have two choices. Choice A and choice B. Anyway. Old jokes. Sometimes old jokes are the best jokes. What are we going to do? My advantage is still not that decisive. Small edge. He's hanging in there. I have one game against this account before. Why can't I see it there? Can I see it? Can I see it, please? There. I don't remember. Too long ago. Rook b8, you know, this is not happy. Not a happy thing for Mr. Rook to be on b8. Mr. Happy. But still, it's not that easy to break through, is it? What am I going to do? f4, perhaps. Doesn't feel right. How about bishop a3? Tie him down. Tie black down defensively. Make him play bishop f8. Not a big deal, but, you know, takes away this square from the queen. That could be itself really significant. Maybe you should play rook d8. Maybe that's the better option. But this is highly unpleasant for black. There's no fun. No fun. What do we do next? Well, lots of things we can do. f4 at some point. I would have liked that better. Actually, I would have liked that better with his bishop on f8. So, I don't know. If e4, maybe he weakens his position. Should I encourage him to do that? Acerbate? You're a big believer in provoking the opponent to make weakening moves. You just keep making quick moves, gaining time on the clock. Fishrat Cow, welcome. Perhaps instead of rook c1, I should have done this in the first place. This is probably a mistake. He's starting to organize a defense. I should have played rook d1 in the first place. It was very logical. Put the other rook on c1, probably. I was thinking I want to keep my a pawn protected. Guys, I'm streaming till 1:30, I guess. So I can take on d6 here. Bishop takes. No. Got to make sure c4 is protected first. Because when I exchange on e6, he'll take with the queen. Then I play bishop takes d6. He has queen takes c4. He still has it. That's a pretty good move. Pretty good move. Rook c8. Now his rooks are back in the game again. This is not a weak player. 1300 in bullet. Yeah, I remember Alex CL now. He had a couple different accounts. Bishop g4. All right. I don't like having to do this. I don't see my options, my other options. Bishop takes doesn't work. How am I breaking through here? This is not clear. Oh, maybe I got something. Now he's got rook takes e6. An excellent defense by black. Just protecting e3 in case of bishop h6. See, I'm psychic. Overprotecting the weak point. All right, do I have this? He took with the queen. I can take on d6. Wasn't he supposed to take with a rook? Everything's under control. Do not panic. Do not play rook f4. Do not attack my pawn. And now we just go with the flow. He's got a mating threat. That's not nice. I thought you were going to go with the mating threat. How about centralizing the king? Better than h3. Make sure all our pawns are in the right color. Still, it's not easy to break through. You fall for stupid traps. Funny, what is his bullet rating? He's 1300 in bullet. Okay. That doesn't seem quite appropriate. Rook takes? Does this even work? I was thinking about this. King e2. He gets behind my passed pawn. Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. I have this move. But that should be lost. Does it matter which way I take? lost for black. Seems pretty good for 1300 bullet. You definitely surpassed that. That was a tough game, man. Wow. Everybody's tough. And these guys are 1990. Imagine what that's going to be like. All right, we've got another hour to go. Good technique. Let's play some real openings. I hope that black enjoyed that. All right, I'm really not well enough versed on the main lines of the Caro-Kann, with white especially. I usually play the Panov in tournament conditions. Actually, my last Caro-Kann was a Panov. I played black, never that successfully. I really think that the Panov is like a positional mistake for white, trading e takes d on move 3. But, you know, you're making this concession to get the kind of position you like to play. There's like a piece of orange in my water. Alright. Anyway, that was knight c6, an unusual move here. I don't think this is really a good system, is it? Well, I guess you could take on c4, but that's a tempo down. This is supposed to be good for white. Just forcing me to take. Wow. Should be good for white. Outpost city. Did I play Cobra 11 in simul's? Blitz game draw and a simul loss. This is definitely not recommended for black. That's an ugly bishop. I mean, the position doesn't win itself for white, though. A very bad piece. And I think h6 will make it much harder for him to play any kind of f6 break in the future, which leaves him with basically no counterplay. So h6 probably makes it worse, I would say. This is a kind of logical move, slowing down my queenside expansion and providing for a future. Providing for the future. So one plan would be f4, f5. The other plan is to expand on the queen side with b4. Another idea is knight a4. But then he would have knight e4 Like, everything's good for white here. Very hard for black to get any kind of counterplay. Overly cautious, king h1. I admit I'm kind of waiting for black to make mistakes. It's hard for him to come up with a useful plan, so I'm just kind of waiting. f4 seems logical. Two knights against knight and bad bishop with a weakness on c6. Difficult for black to execute f6. Should be clear advantage to white. I noticed that like every little 8-year-old child knows the Caro-Kann main lines like 25 moves deep. For some reason, I guess like chess trainers like teaching little children to memorize 25 moves of Caro-Kann theory. But I'm not sure I would... it's a solid opening. But I'm not sure I would recommend it for scholastic players or beginners. Yeah, I agree. It seems kind of sophisticated. We've got him. Got him where we want him. Clearly he has bishop a6. He'll get his bishop sort of back into the game. But we're up the exchange for nothing. It should be a winning position, materially. Triple on the e-file. That may not be possible. Now he's got rook b4. We want to keep him tied down. Do I have f5? At some point. I always do viewer tournaments on Tuesday night. Just sort of arbitrarily chose that night. Because I'm streaming in the evenings, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. And I'm streaming in the mornings, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Saturdays is off. Alternating between Blitz and Rapid. But this week I started the tournament kind of early on Tuesday at 6:30. I think I'm going to try to aim for 6:45 European time for tournament start. It seemed to work better. We started a little too quick this week. Martin Kessler seems to like Martin Kessler. Martin Kessler's asking me questions and I'm playing Cobra 11. Can I swing my knight into a4 to b6? That'll shut down his counterplay on the b file. And it basically keeps him tied down. We'll have to take his bishop eventually. But if I could just trade pieces, I win. I mean, that's the problem. He's just down in exchange for nothing. You're arguing I could have in mind to trick you? No. I just got you confused because you were talking to me and I'm playing him. Alright. Well, anyway, this seriously interferes with this position. There's all the connection on the b file is gone. Astroby would already be thinking about like how to trap his queen. Plotting. I don't play like that. I don't even know my opponent's queens are trapped. Sneaky tricks are not my thing. Plotting to trap the queen here. Not so easy, actually. I don't have a clue how to trap his queen. I'm not going to worry about it. He might have a break with e5. Always good to have an air pocket. Can never be too careful about back rank mate, guys. Not sure this is actually the safer square for my king. And I've got to keep this stupid pawn protected. That's driving me crazy. How can I trade the queen off? Queen A1. Queen A1 allows queen D2. You can play A4. Probably a good move. A4, queen A1 with the idea of queen C3. Exclamation point. And now E6 is hanging, but the idea was that's an annoying move. F5. F5. He's got queen D2. F5 knight. Knight's coming in. But I can play, yeah, it's kind of messy. F5, knight F4, queen C3, and he's starting to play E5 and stuff like that. Rook takes E6, rook takes E6, rook takes E6, queen D2 is highly annoying. This is suddenly a dangerous situation. G3 is bad. Got to be very careful here. Wow, I don't know. Knight F4, I'll almost have to trade queens. I did not expect that move. That might be even stronger. I might have to lose a pawn. What a move. Did not see it. Man. Grave danger. Brilliant by black. G3 was very weakening. I mean, he's got queen D2 check. E2 is covered. I mean, I don't know if I can withstand that. I'm just going to lose a pawn. What? Okay, he made a crazy move. Obviously, he has to trade queens. He just blundered in time pressure. Series of blunders and time pressure. Am I stupid or something? Totally missed this move. found this. What? Wow. Interesting. He's a bullet pro. Now I'm getting mated. This is the most ridiculous game ever. Bizarre king play I've ever seen. Interesting style of play. Wow. But he's got this insane bullet rating. He's like 21, 25 in bullet. Mostly only bullet games. See, that's what I try to fight against. You know, people just playing for bullet chess. It's, man, imagine how strong a player he could be if he would just focus more on trying to play well in the beginning of the game instead of like the bullet part. People get addicted to bullet. I mean, he has a lot of talent, but the beginning of the game was just like giving me everything. I was losing. That's amazing. I'm just totally winning, like up the exchange for nothing, and I managed to get a lost position. Mule Skinner for something new and totally different. The Bishop e5 Grand Prix attack. Wow. I've got to do something new. Yeah, that time. The 3-second increment is too much for the bullet player to operate with. I mean, I should have flagged by then in a normal bullet style game. I can't believe how bad I played, though. You know, there was like no way, and he just kept coming forward with his king. There was no way to even check him. Very strained position. But he also played too quickly when he had a winning position. You need to stop and think sometimes, you know, just for a few seconds. This position here. I'm not really used to playing with the knight on h6. Gingy used to recommend this. Maybe in a different position, though. I guess I could try like king h8 and knight back to g8 in some lines. White can try a pawn sack here with f5. But I wanted to throw something different at Mule Skinner because it's gotten to the point where we're playing the same variation with knight takes b5 and he knows it down to a science. I'm too predictable. Very, very bad opening. Thanks for the gift sub today, by the way, Jim. And for your donation with 100 bits. Taking you up ahead of Blobix. Blobix is going to freak out. 1,100 ahead of the Blobix for the week. good to see Bob earlier. I can't believe it's really Bob. Yeah, I don't feel right about this knight on h6. It always ends up stuck out there and having to play like king h8. That may not be that bad, though. Speaking of king h8, if e6, maybe I play d6 first, and on h3 I play e6. Threatening bishop g4, which would really disrupt his setup, I would think. Make him make the stupid move h3, which is not typically played in the Grand Prix attack. Possibly king h8. h3, king h8, g4, f5. King h8 has got to be the idea. We need a square for the knight. Coming back. It seems crazy to play knight h6 with the idea of knight g8, by the way. Originally I was looking at e6. Then g4 looks kind of legitimately okay. This should give me more options. If g4 I can take. I'm not sure how good that is, but it's interesting. Like g4, knight g4, h4, bishop g4. He's in this pin, and then he'd have to play bishop e3, Asterbane's favorite move, to get out of it. Then knight f3, rook f3, he's still in a pin. Maybe it would be fun to play knight takes g4. Guys, simul, I'm holding a simul on Sunday. Please be here. 25 players, 6:30 p.m. Sunday CET. I got challenges from Ross is back, Hugo, and Vichy the player. Now, honestly, I hadn't made up my mind about this. Usually you take with the pawn. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take with the pawn. Check is nice, but doesn't really do anything. And this gives me more control of the center. And then f5. I think black has a good game. We don't want him to play f5. But he's not threatening it necessarily. And this looks okay. We end up with a sort of superiority in the center, bringing that c-pawn toward the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 pawns. Playing in the center area. He still has his pawns. But it's very comfortable for black. Normally white has an initiative on the king side. It's non-existent here. I was thinking pawn takes pawn on f5, knight g3, and the annoying knight h5. So perhaps after pawn f5 I just take with the knight. Shut him down. Shut him down. Shut up and develop. First things first. Queen maneuver. So that gives him e-file pressure. His c-line is covered by the bishop on b3, so it's hard for me to generate counterplay over there. But I could take on e4. Pressure is center. That's interesting. There's also a5, but my a5 pawn itself could become weak. Sure, I really want to do that. Bishop c6, no. Pawn takes pawn. My center starts to melt down. He's starting queen h4. So, alright. So if he takes, I take back with the pawn. If he takes again, I take back with the pawn. We have a big pawn center. But my e5 pawn has to be carefully guarded. This is a little bit risky. Maybe I should take on e4. Maybe I should have taken on e4. Or maybe I should do it in the future. You'll Skinner, one of my few opponents who actually uses his time. Knight g3. I could play queen h4 actually. That might be kind of annoying for him to deal with. Now I'm threatening f4, which would just overwhelm him. So pawn takes f5, and I've got queen h4. If knight g3, queen h4. Bishop takes h6, queen h6 would be the point. And I'm bringing the whole, because he's trying to overload my bishop, overloading e5, overloading that. Everything's protected, and I'm bringing my other rook over now with rook a e8. Black is just better. Maybe he has some weird move, I don't know. This is pinning him too. Now his queen is tied down to the knight. Knight h1. Classic Grand Prix attack maneuver. Obviously, I'm more than happy to trade queens. Black is better. But it's not so easy. But sideline knights for both sides. Knight g3. And he's starting knight h5. Nasty. Don't like that. We just have to go. f4. Probably a good idea. Sometimes you just have to do something ugly. Take it for the team. The pawn cube. Oh, it's a knight cube. The knight cube. Knight diamond. Happy pawns. Wants to undermine me. You want to undermine my wonderful pawns. Black must be better. Wasted time there. Probably had a more accurate move order. So still rook f1. Now rook f1, rook d2. I'm curious about the last position. Maybe he plays rook d1 here, but then I have the e2, wins a piece. Yeah, he realized at the last minute. That's the problem. Maybe he's lost here. The pawn is so strong. He's actually lost. Even though I'm not up any material. It's just too much. This pawn there and the bishop on c6. Strength of position. Alright, so Rauris, it's like Pluto from the Astro. What's his name? Not Pluto. Astro from the Astros. Astro would be from the Astros. Rastro. Rutro Rastro. Rauris. Rausis. Now Rausis better play like 1300. You better not play like a master. We don't enjoy that routine around here. Highly accurate move order. Maybe this is Bob's new account. Bob's rating went down. Now he knows a very accurate move order. No, Alright, if he was really knowledgeable, he would play d5 now. That's what I play. Now black is slightly worse for the rest of the life. I wonder if this is... Is it better to trade on e5 or just stick a knight on d4? Philosophical question. Only Rousis knows. He's moving fast and seems stronger than 1500 already. He aborted or didn't show up the first time he challenged me. It's a new account, barely enough games. So we're on high alert with accounts like this. Ready to abort the game at any moment. When it starts playing like Igor's Rousis. Alright. So far, normal play. Where is everybody? Looks like only Martin Kessler's in the chat. And you're not even spamming. H3. Actually, this is not a bad plan. His only break is b5. H3 allows me to play f4. Huge is up, and then Vichy the player. And that'll probably get us close to the end of the stream. Now black's playing really passive. Okay, there's no reason to retreat that voluntarily. 97 seems unnecessary. If black plays passively, he's dead. It's a bad setup. So he's just repurposing the knight to c5. Now it's a new location at a theater near you. I still think that black's playing games here. Trolling me. Even that's a kind of sophisticated idea, you know? Relocating the knight. Try to trade it off with knight e4. Now he's just going too far. This has got to be Bob's troll account. His new attempt to be a troll. He's just horsing around. Literally. Queen b6. No. Strange play by black, obviously. Knight e5, knight e7, knight c5, knight e7, knight e8. I feel like it's not a 1300, it's someone else who's having a joke at my expense. It's a little too much to be believable. Now knight b8. Yeah, see? I knew it. I actually predicted that move. It may have seemed like in the stream with a delay that I called it, but I called it in advance. That black would play knight b8. Bishop h8. I said knight b8 the moment before he played it. Now bishop h8. Didn't play bishop h8 after all that. How could you play f5 instead of bishop h8? It's got to be Bob. He misspelled Rousis. You have to make a new account with the proper spelling. So how long is Rousis banned from chess? 5 years? Whatever happened to that French grandmaster who got banned from chess? Was it Sebastian Feller? Isn't he like unsuspended or something? You'd be like permanent shame. Permanent shame mode. ridiculous. All right, space is space. We've got the space. You got the beer. A good move. No. Almost mate. Space knights. Queen e7 is strongly recommended. Blockading the pawn on the 6th rank. An excellent move. But alright. Troll player. Black was just having fun with us. I suspect his real strength is around 1700. But we'll never know. Yes. Excellent. Excellent.
Yes. Well, yes.
Excellent, Smithers. That wasn't a good Montgomery Burns. Alright. Gotta brush up on my Simpsons imitations. It's over. Anyway, this was very entertaining. Extremely entertaining. There's no way to get the smothered mate. Sadly, there's no decoy to do a smothered mate. Knight f3 is good. GG Helis. Knight f3 is good, but it's not elegant in a way. In a way it is, maybe, but it's not direct. Alright, this guy. Bob knows. Bob knows Rauris. I played Rauris in 1999 before he started using computers. Okay, Higa. Thank you for a very entertaining experience. The premier troll of my stream. Did we have this before? D6 equalizes against the London. This is a good move order if you play the King's Indian, I guess. Actually, anything. White can play Knight C3 now. Why am I like having a sudden like sense of I don't know what I'm doing? Simply Knight f3 and we just transpose. What's the point of this move order again? Well, it kills e3 type systems, I guess. It's okay against Knight c3. I guess Knight f3 is. We're just going to transpose. Knight d7 is not so good now. But a lot of these London system guys don't like playing the knight to f3 early for some reason. Whatever. You could also play knight c3 now. So I don't really understand what my move order does. Why doesn't everybody play knight f3? Seems like the best move by far. Maybe I have another move like c5 or something. It's not a big deal. Is c5 a good move? Yeah, knight f3 is best, it seems like. Not like a secret move or something. I had a game at my tournament in January where this 2050 player played. He was like a coffee house guy. It was such a weird, closed position. Everyone thought I was worse. And then I took the position home and put it on the computer, and I was like +2 the whole game. Because I had so much space. Headless horseman. I have no interest in playing knight h5. Interesting move order. When does knight h5 become a good move? Like now? Like knight h5, bishop g5, h6, bishop h4, g5. Then you can play some weird move like knight d2. So still not that great for black. He's delaying his queenside motion. Motion to adjourn. If c5, what do you do? No, I know. It's got to be you. Who else would be headless? I have a new obsession with the double fianchetto. You can just do it against everything. But Huga's like move order enables him to play this a little more aggressively than the standard London system. Sometimes you see like a4 here. That might be a good move. I guess a4 I might have to play a5. Because normally I would do a6, but he has a4, a6, c4 with the threat of a5, which I don't really like. a4, a6, c4. Well, who knows? Maybe I have stuff like c5. The c4 immediately. That's more or less what we expected. And this is recommended in a lot of books, I think. To play c4 against the King's Indian when you're playing the London system. John Watson. I don't know why John Watson would talk about that. He doesn't recommend playing the London system. Somewhere I saw or heard a system authored where they recommended playing c4 against the King's Indian. But perhaps Watson's talking about the black side of the King's Indian and just discussing what the best for the opponent is. He's a pretty objective analyst, unlike a lot of authors. Lots of chess authors are totally unobjective. John Watson is pretty good about being truthful. So now I don't have queen e8 because of knight b5 type of ideas. That's the one flaw in this position. We have to do, and now he has b4 too. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take it out. The knight on c3. It will bother me later. Plus it opens up my bishop on g7. Since I don't have the standard queen e8, e5, and e6, queen e7, e5 is kind of slow. If I do e6, I was afraid of b4, c5. He might be able to get that in. Maybe, maybe not. But generally, I don't like trading pieces. You know, it's only that, like with black, you have a little bit less space. So here it's justified. He didn't want to put his queen on that diagonal, I understand. But now black has a comfortable game. If he takes, his structure is mangled. And just slowly improve the position now, squeezing like all the force of Nimzovich. This break must not be allowed. c5. I accept correspondence challenges, but only in the case that it's 5 days or longer. I won't do faster than 5. A lot of times I won't have time to respond for a couple days, so I don't want to forfeit. The 3-day one is just, it's a little bit too fast, and I like to think about the moves. So if you want to challenge me to correspondence, 5 days is fine. Or 7. I think we can play e4. Now it's reasonable. It's not overextended. This is properly supported. And obviously, we'll play f5 if necessary. Well, we have to play f5. I mean, that's our break. The question is, of course, when should I prepare it a little bit? I could have a problem with queen b3. You can never be too careful. The queen b3 factor, with a hanging bishop and a king on g8, could now allow him to play like c5 at some point. I don't want to give him a good c5. Actually, he has knight b3, as ugly as that is. Trying to play c5 as well. Then I have bishop c6, forcing him to defend the a4 pawn. This is another way of trying to get in c5. What's the best defense? Bishop c6, d5 is no problem. Oh no, it is a problem because he has d5 and takes on e4. So you have to be careful here. That's awkward. Because I didn't play f5 in time. Now I have to play this stupid rook b8 move. Almost forced. Now he has some tricks. But if c5 I just take with the b pawn, it's not clear he has enough compensation or not. Maybe he does. I'm skeptical. And now this. You got to get in f5 as soon as possible so none of these tricks will work. And eventually the f5, f4 smackdown. He has to take with the rook to defend e3, but his position is shot. Structurally shot. That's a good try. Gets a knight to d4. There's a little bit of hope for white. I'm sad to trade that off, but I don't see how you can survive structurally here. Those pawns are a mess. Black is very, very compact. He has to play bishop f4. he's hanging on. Even g5 is probably strong. Perhaps this is unnecessary. I have g4. Winning the exchange. Still not that simple. This bishop comes back to life. Oh, he's got more tricks. Bishop d3. I'm screwing this up. Wow. He has almost enough compensation now after 100 mistakes by me. What? Panicked. Just when he had enough compensation, he panicked. That's funny, like the first moment when you're okay, you have enough. White's probably better now. The computer says it's dead equal. Yeah, it was ugly though. I'm not sure if I should even win the exchange, honestly. Computer thinks so. My subsequent move must have been really bad here. It's not so bad, apparently. This is not so bad, apparently. It's funny, I looked at Queen H4 and I almost played it, but I didn't like G3. It's not a problem. I was just winning. So this is the blunder here. Queen E7. I'm clearly worse than I was. Alright. I got Vichy the player. We have time for these two last games. But I don't understand why you let me double your pawns on c3. I mean, you should just trade knights on e4. Position is equal. I thought Vichy the player played the closed Sicilian, but he's converted. He's converter. Something different. Did I do this against you before? I'm not really big on... I don't really like the knight f6 that much. c3, knight f6. Even though a lot of people consider it the main line, I still don't feel that comfortable playing knight f6. This is unbeknownst to me. But I guess we could transpose somehow. This move, there's something funky about this move order that's not normal. I don't know if you can take advantage of it. Even taking on e5, that looks dangerous though. I feel like I'm falling in some sort of trap if I do that. E6 is also kind of weird. This is clearly the main line. Why can't I take any 5 now? It's still not good. Dude, so we just transposed by this funky.
Give me a Y, give me an E, give me an F.
Distraction tactics. Funky move order. I lost to someone on sound in this because I didn't know it well enough. I never played this line. That was my yes button. I hate that too.
Yes.
It's just ridiculous. The yes button cheerleaders sounds really cheesy. The no button's way better than the yes button. There's no question. It's funny, I don't remember that move either. What's up with this position? This position isn't supposed to happen, I guess. Huh. I have no idea what's going on. He just plays these moves like instantaneously. I don't know. Somehow we're in a really weird place. The move order is all confused. Okay, I have e6, queen b4 check. This just doesn't normally happen with a weird move order. Feels like a mistake to play bishop takes b3, but I have to develop my pieces. How bad can it be? Famous last words. Well, at least he can't play knight b5 yet, but he will. That was the yes button. Very annoying. All right, my chat on the... Yeah, this move I disagree with wholeheartedly. I think you should definitely take with the A pawn. Sam Shanklin may not agree. He's got a new book on pawn structures that I heard was pretty good, but I feel like AB opening the rook file was more dangerous than taking with the queen for black. But I suppose he has his points here. Black has to be careful nevertheless. I remember a C3 Sicilian I had with the Russian Grandmaster Sergei Smagin. Totally different variation, but I mean, maybe queen b4 is a good move anyway. Just to do it, just for the sake of doing it immediately, like castles queen b4. It probably forces him to move away with like queen c2. I don't know that he has a threat, so, but I don't really like knight b5, queen d7, knight e5, although maybe that's no problem. Bishop e7, knight b5, queen d7, knight e5. Takes, castles, rook d1, knight d5. It almost feels like theory. I guess he can also play... No, knight e4 is not dangerous. It feels like a normal mainline c3 Sicilian, but something's not quite right here. Both of us made some inaccuracy, probably some minor inaccuracy. I don't like queen takes. Guys, I have one more game after this. Do I play some gambits in tournaments? I'm not a gambit player per se, but I do play. I'm not afraid to sacrifice material. I mean, I like to sacrifice for the initiative, but I don't play like early opening gambits, with a few exceptions. With Blumenfeld, I started to play about 15 years ago. That's a kind of gambit. No, I don't play standard gambits though. I don't play the Benko. The Benko is a positional opening though. It's not really a gambit in a true sense. The Blumenfeld is sort of similar, but it's more of a gambit. No one ever lets me play the Blumenfeld. Rook e1, preparing for d5. But I don't see it. He doesn't have d5. About now, I'm starting to threaten to take his pawn. It might be time for an acerbate bishop move. Then white's position is a fail. If the best he can come up with is bishop e3, then it's time to hang up the cleats. I try to play more positional openings, and I don't believe in losing pawns on move 4. like the Mora Gambit or anything like that. I don't want to be like worse or lose my opening advantage voluntarily. So, well, I have queen b5 here. I mean d5, so that's one good move. There's nothing wrong with queen d7, but as I alluded to earlier, he can play maybe knight e5, trade the pieces, and it looks kind of... But I don't see a problem with this. The endgame should be better for black. But it's defensible for white. He's probably not lost, just in a slightly unpleasant position where he'll have to defend for 25 moves after queen d5, knight d5. Because of his pawn on d4. This is an interesting decision, but I don't think it's good. Structure rules here. His structure is destroyed. Bishop d6, not necessarily the best move. It's tempting. You might be better off just playing bishop e5 and just trying to lock down your pawn. Yeah. But now it's just torturous for black. I mean white, whatever. Whatever, white, black. It's all fair. Highly unpleasant position for white. Multiple pawn weaknesses. No real compensation. f6. He has that one tiny chance. Rook e4. But now I have e5. Because he's self-pinned. Maybe rook a1? Excel Poker 88. Welcome. White's lost the pawn, worse king, worse structure. Trying to survive here. Trying to get some counterplay on the C file, I would assume. Looks like he's done. He has one last chance with f4. Second pawn goes. Bye-bye. Bishop d6 not an option. resorting to playing for cheapos. Masturbate's proud. I know. Alright, last game. Excel Poker showed up too late. Maybe we'll get an extra game in. Let me just make a move here. Hold on a second. See if I have time for one more game. Alright, we should be able to play these last two games. My schedule will allow it. But no more challenges, guys. Excel Poker's the last one. Thanks everybody for joining the stream. And please support the stream. We need all the subscribers we can get. So if you haven't subscribed, please do so. London system, oh no. We just had this routine. I guess that's what I get for playing the King's Indian attack. Mirror image of previous game, but black played c6, committing that pawn. Like in another game, he reserved the right to play c5, which is probably the more aggressive way to play. c6 is inherently more passive. I like the plan of playing c5 better. I might play knight h4 in some moment and hunt down that bishop. Actually, I had a game like that last month. Same tournament. Essentially, I faced two London systems because one person played the setup with black and one I faced where I was black and the King's Indian. Excel Poker subscribed. Awesome. Awesome, dude. So he looks like a strong player. I thought we played before, but yeah, only one game. All right, so Queen c7. This is actually similar to what the kid did that I played last month. Queen c7, it's not a great move, but it's not bad. Fairly solid. No, I can play Queen e1 as long as there's not a knight coming from c6 to b4, hitting c2. That's my weak point. It's hard to attack the weak point, but not impossible to attack white's weak point. As it happened in that game, it became an issue later on, but we're trying to break with e4. If you castle and I play h3, it would probably be castles e4, bishop g6. I think you know what the kid did? He played something like bishop g6 unprovoked, which I thought was weird, but it's not so bad. Most people will play like h6. In fact, instead of queen c7, most people would play h6 or castles kingside immediately. This is actually not so bad for black to play e5. The computer would probably go for that. I noticed that the chess engine, when you analyze these type of setups, it doesn't like it when you play e4. It doesn't like letting you play e5. It doesn't like the space disadvantage. So queen c7 allows black to fight back with e5. Seems okay. Maybe the best way to play. Thanks for subscribing. All right, guys, we're going over time. I got another challenge, but I don't think I'm going to be able to survive that long. So this is a surprising move. Bishop e6. Normally it's not good because of like knight g5. It's actually problematic here because of the e5 pawn. He's losing that pawn. It just loses. So bishop e6 is just a blunder. I mean, you have to do pawn takes pawn. And black is only like 0.1 worse in this position. After DE, bishop g4 or bishop g6. Even bishop e6 might be possible, but But this looks like it just loses a pawn. I've got triple attack on e5. I don't see any compensation. He just wasn't really... It's easy to kind of forget the queen on e1, but it's a major blunder. Most people settle into that symmetrical structure. I don't really like it, but you get used to it. If I play the King's Indian with black, and people play the Tory attack or the London system, you can't really avoid these scenarios where it's like pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. It's kind of boring because it's symmetrical, but you still have to try to find a way to win. But in this case, black lost his central pawn, which is gonna probably cost him the game. Hey, Mr. Coffee. We'll let it slide. We had a very surprising development today. You want to guess what you missed? What surprising thing could happen? Someone visited the stream. No, it wasn't Magnus Carlsen. The next best was Bob. Bob's doppelganger. There's a chance Bob's actually still alive. It was all a rumor about him being dead. I thought you'd be pretty surprised. Tactics. All right, my queen is now formerly well placed. Now it may be badly placed. Do I even give lessons? Yeah, I actually... People ask me all the time, what do you do for a job? I've been teaching chess since 1995 originally, but I did take some time off. I mean, there was a long period when I was playing poker and I didn't do a lot of instruction. But since like when I started streaming maybe in 2015, I basically am doing chess coaching almost full time. So yeah, if you're interested, you can send me an email at videochesstrainer@gmail.com. You can send me a message here on lichess as well. The messaging system is actually in the works. They've improved it a little bit just recently. Prior to that, I didn't really like using lichess, but yeah, people are always interested in lessons and then disappearing, and other people are coming back. So if anyone is interested in chess lessons, I'm available. Maybe not for that many people, but I can probably take on one new or two new people interested in learning or improving, and they can be all different levels. I've coached people from total beginners to, my range is really up to around 2,300. I would say 2,300 FIDE. I don't really feel comfortable teaching people who are my own rating or above, but up until about 2,300 FM, I think I'm qualified. My rate is $40 per hour, US. I think it's that much higher than my rate was. I don't raise my rates that often. You're stuck for years. We all are. Oh man, bishop f6, and suddenly I have some weaknesses in my position. Maybe I should play d4 here. That c2 pawn I mentioned, guys, earlier. You see what I'm talking about? That becomes the basis for black's counterplay. Not so simple. Completely serious. Yeah, it all depends. Like sometimes I have a lot of people taking lessons and I can't possibly have the time to help someone else, and then, you know, maybe a few weeks later or a month later, all of a sudden people had to stop, and it's possible I could work with two new people. So it totally depends. At the moment, I mean, It's very feasible. Yeah, that's what I do to try to make a living. Other than some other stuff. So, good job here by Gila staying alive down a pawn. Now he has legitimate chances in this type of endgame. Only a pawn down, no other weaknesses. It doesn't seem that bad. Tough call there. I might want to take with the pawn and shove that d pawn. But it's a blitz game, whatever. Now my pawn's hanging. I have to do this. It's one pawn up on the queen side. Standard position, right? One pawn up in the endgame. Queen side majority. Do you call this a winning position? No. Very good practical chances for white to win. I like the knights being on the board, by the way. You know, if you're going to have any pieces on the board when you're at material, the knights are very decisive. Most decisive, because Zugzwang is a real weapon. I'm not sure. He should allow this. My pieces are pretty well coordinated. Probably should trade rooks there. It's not the end of the world. You know, the main danger is a knight endgame, but he still has the queens on the board, you know. I think as long as he doesn't trade both sets of minor pieces, black still has very reasonable chances to draw. But probably here, after rook d1, he has to trade the rooks. I don't like trading, but I think he has to do it. The engine says it's a best move. Rook takes d1, queen takes d1, plus 1.5, which is the cutoff. 1.5 is like the cutoff between a winning position and a draw. I mean, this is close. All right, Zell poker, Excel poker. 135 in the afternoon. Yeah, let's play e4. Please support the stream, guys. Thanks to Zell Poker for subscribing. A Karo Khan we had earlier today. I played, what did I play? The Panov. I never played the main line with white. I never played that much e4, although I like to keep it in the repertoire. I think it's best to be able to play e4 and d4, but I've never played as much e4 as I do d4 and knight f3 and c4. But the Panov is really, it's a fundamental queen pawn type of position. Well, I mean, you could say it's anything, e4, d4, both. Isolated queen pawn positions are common. I've never seen anyone play like this. I've never seen anyone play e6 and a6. It looks like something you might do in the Queen's Gambit. It is a Queen's Gambit with the c pawn and the e pawn gone. This is interesting. If you saw how my last game went from earlier in the stream, Cell Poker, it would be kind of ironic because I was able to play like bishop e5 and pin the knight on c6. Interesting setup. I wonder what the best antidote is. Pawn takes pawn seems kind of lame, but I try to understand what my opponents are doing. It looks like he wants to set up some kind of Queen's Gambit accepted type of thing with like takes, bishop takes c4, and maybe an extended fianchetto. I mean, how useful will a6 be in this type of symmetrical position? Becomes an interesting question. I'm hoping that a6 doesn't really play here. It's not that bad, though. I mean, I already know part of the answer to this question. Bishop d3, bishop g4. Should I play h3? It's a move. It reminds me of some kind of Queen's Gambit accepted, even though it's not really a Queen's Gambit accepted. There's some lines. If you took black's pawn and put it from d5 on c7, we would have typical like Queen's Gambit accepted structure. Petrov, it's also different than the Petrov though. I would have a pawn on c2 if this were a Petrov. He would have a pawn on c7. So I'm not allowing him to have either bishop g4 or bishop f5. That's the basis here. And then what do we do next? Bishop f4. Knight e5 is obviously a move. Rook e1 is a standard move. Black has a hard time generating counterplay. Do you study on your own with engine or books, or study through play? Well, I mean, I've done all of the above in an extended career. I recommend. I don't study that much on my own these days because I'm mostly teaching people and helping them to improve. I'm not really studying for my own game, much as I used to. But I would recommend all of the above in general. First question is like knight e5, but bishop f4 is playable. Bishop f4 could lead to kind of dry position. Bishop f4, bishop d6. I mean, perhaps I could play like bishop f4, bishop d6, queen d2. I was looking at bishop f4, bishop d6, bishop g5 to avoid exchanges. Then something like h6. Actually, that wouldn't work for black though. So maybe that's also a good option. Bishop f4, he stopped that. This is, again, a hyper modern move, but I mean, kind of like another idea from the Queen's Gambit accepted. Now if bishop f4, there's no bishop g5. Bishop c2 is interesting. a3 is interesting. What should I do? If I play knight e5 now, he has knight takes d4, and no longer I have bishop takes h7 check, winning a pawn. So in a way, h6 prevents knight e5. a3 prepares bishop c2, and the idea of queen d3, which is a very standard isolated queen pawn strategy. Now he's put his bishop on e6, which is a normal move, but doesn't change everything. b4 becomes an issue. Knight e5 is interesting. I guess we go for that. I don't like allowing queen d3, b4. Now if knight takes, pawn takes, almost looks like an open Roy Lopez. Queen d3, b4. Oh, we have knight g6 ideas. Not really doing anything. Let's just develop. No real concrete threat here. I guess we play develop the bishop next. If queen b6, I was unconvinced by knight g6. However, it's still an idea. I think it does even less now. Bishop h6, excuse me. Well, I was just going to develop my pieces. Is it too late? He might even... No, 94 is not. I don't have a clear threat, you know? I don't have a clear threat. It might be able to set up bishop e5. There's a rook lift with rook e3, which is obviously very standard. This is clearly the move. Subtle. It doesn't even threaten mate. His king can walk out to f8 and e7. So you have to keep that in mind. This king can actually evacuate. Like, it's not always mate, even if you get your queen to h7. But I don't really want to trade queens. If I can help it. Queen g3. Or queen f3. What does queen f3 do? This stops 97. Sort of. 97 is an interesting move, but I wouldn't try it. He has 94. That's a good move. Knight h5 makes the most sense of those options. But meanwhile, I'm just going to try to maybe double on the e-file or just bring my rook to d1. He's got some queenside counterplay. Do I have a threat here, by the way? Do I have any threat? No. I'm not actually threatening anything. Bishop d3. No clear threat. Long stream today. Knight h5. This gives me a free hand, you know, free move. It looks like I played the exchange French or something. But I think these type of positions are always like kind of unpleasant for black. The bishop on e6 is his big problem. Pretty much every other piece in the board is active. My bad bishop is more active than his bad bishop. So what do I do to break through? Well, we can revolve back to the old theme. Bishop takes a3. He's not going to do that. That would be like suicidal to his king. I could transfer my knight, right? Knight e2, knight f4. Or knight g3 like a standard. Then knight e4 comes in though, so it's kind of thematic. Well, here we go again. But now I have bishop d3, threatening bishop b5. Oh, I'm about to flag. Wow. Why didn't somebody tell me? I don't know how good this is. This is a pretty good exchange sacrifice, it looks like. Yeah, I think we're just sort of both panicking. What? Yeah, I'm sure that both sides were lost near the end. Guys, I gotta play maximum more game. I'll play this 1400. Do you have 100 games, dude? Yeah, alright. I gotta go. I'm sure that was pretty much degenerated. That was a very degenerating game at the end. Yeah, no, you had tons of. You were probably winning. We were both blundering left and right at the end. But I think the initial position when I had to win the exchange, it's unclear. Probably you have enough compensation all along. But then we just started to make random moves. Alright, last take back, dude. I don't really do take backs. This is the last one. I'm tired. I gotta go. Thank you for the games, guys. Yeah, the pawn was super dangerous. Don't tell me what the computer evaluated it at. I don't. I don't want to know. Like, no need to tell what the engine said. No need for that. White traded off the central pawn here on d5, which I think is a mistake strategically. Move 10. But his whole position is a little bit too passive with e3. But anyway, it was an interesting game before that. Interesting opening system with a6. I had to think a lot. I've never been in that situation before. I'm pretty fried here, guys. I'm going to leave in just a few minutes after this game. Mentally drained. It's martini time. Now, I would like to get the dark square bishop, not the white square one. Bishop g4, rook d8. Now you can liquidate a lot of stuff. I would look for f5 if I can find a way to make it work tactically on bishop g4. But I think like rook d2 is too routine, probably. Black has a very strong position here. Once I lock down d4, white will always be in big trouble. I mean, that's kind of politically correct way of saying it, not to hurt my opponent's feelings, but this is like over strategically. Once I get in there, you're done. Okay, knight f3, good practical move. Under the circumstances. I had far more complicated ways of playing this. For advantage. But ultimately this square should be significant. My opponent is 1400. I think he's doing well for 1400. And he realizes the importance of this square by coming back with knight f3. a3 is a good move as well. It's actually not so easy. He's going to liquidate everything if he can. Possibly I shouldn't trade both sets of rooks. This is extremely strong for a 1400 player. Come up with b4. Probably best. But I think now we go with knight d4. It's a good idea. Good thinking to put your pawns on dark squares with a white square bishop here. But I think that black is strategically close to winning. Tricky though, he's got some white square queen moves. I didn't want to let him, and I don't want to play c5 till I'm guaranteed, this. Basically, protected passed pawn. I'm still not even sure if I want to play c5. I think I want to play it. Protected passed pawn. That's the danger in the opening, when you lose control of d4 in a King's Indian type position. Now he's just lost. I think he missed it. Still, I mean, there's some blockade potential. As Larry Christensen says, when you see a good move, always look for a better one. Obviously, I could take on e4, but there may be a better move. f5. f5 looks very dangerous for white. Smashing. I mean, this just looks... Will he have bishop g4? Do I have a queen? I'm a rook sacrifice on f2. It does look that way. Takes, rook takes, bishop g4, rook takes f2. Got all the pieces in the game. I want more than just this pawn. I'm going for an absolute knockout. He played f3. Yeah, it's fatally weakening the dark squares. It's over. See, all his pieces are stuffed into a little cubicle office space. Not good. It's clearly over. Weakness on the dark squares. Rook sacrifice would work. Clearly. This is completely severing the position in half. Connect 6. But once it started with the d4 square, everything is strategically based. It's not about tactics. So we have options, but I like just slowly rolling forward. It was tempting to win the pawn. Yeah, I just had a feeling like there's got to be something better here than just winning that pawn. But obviously f3 is like a disaster. What's his best defense, though? He has to take. It's clear, you know, he has to take. Possibly I have some sick move like bishop e3. You know, I mean, e takes f, bishop e3 would even be something you could look at. But I think we're taking with the rook, and then white is just lost. I would be willing to wager on it. Up close and personal. Cube life. How's your office cubicle feeling now? Over here. Get in the cubicle. Stay in your cubicle till the office hours are over. This is not fun for some people. It's getting hard to find moves. It's sort of sadistic now. He sacked his queen. That's a good decision. Definitely a good decision. And what's the correct way to mate here? Rook f1. How many do we have till mate? What's the fastest mate? Maybe queen f4 check. Queen f4, he's got a bishop d5 check. That's going to extend the amount of moves it takes to mate him. I guess rook f1 check, king h2, bishop g1 check, king h1, bishop f2 check, king h2, queen f4. So it's like mate in 4. Looks like the best we can do. Is it even mate in 4 though? He can come out. He walks out with king g3, queen e5 check. It's got to be a faster mate than this. It's like mate in 5. I must have missed something. Always mate with the lowest form of material, the lowest form of life. Anyway, that was bad. I will see you guys later. Sunday simul, 6:30 p.m. CET. You assumed rook takes bishop before. Yeah, I mean, rook takes bishop would be the move. Is it actually faster? Just arbitrarily. Is that a faster mate if you do rook takes bishop? Even though it's not check? You're probably right. It is the fastest mate. Because if I play queen f4, that's a pretty fast mate too. He's got bishop d5, but then it's like mate in 1. Maybe that's even... No, queen f4, bishop d5 check, king up, then he like moves his knight, hangs his knight. He could extend it for a while. Anyway, it doesn't matter, guys. Have a great day. Thank you for supporting the stream. Good to see you, Mr. Coffee. Have fun at the cubicle. And you can think of something funny while you're working today. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. And from the pond to myself, bye-bye. 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 Oh, good game. Later, guys.